What's going on, y'all? It's the Development Doctor. I'm live here at one of my new construction sites, you guys. Y'all asked for it, I'm giving it to you guys, right? First and foremost, thank you for being members of my premium Discord. I'm here to help you guys. I'm working on new construction, residential, renovations, commercial, you name it, we doing it. I want to show you guys a step-by-step process of all of these things, whether you're gearing up for your first build or whether you're buying a house for your first time that's a new construction from a big builder, right? You want to understand how to educate yourself on what's needed, what's missing, and what could be done to improve your home and your property. Let's take a step on inside. So as you come into a property, we're at the phase of what you call framing. We just passed our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing inspections. So I'm gonna give you guys some updates on the floor plan and what's going on. As a builder, if you are building a house and you wanna have dual senses of sale, whether you have to sell it or refinance it, you wanna maximize your living space. So this is quote unquote the living room. It has a fireplace, but this is framed in the sense that if we wanted to, we could close this room in and add an additional bedroom easily by just dropping in two 2x4s and some drywall on the door. Boom, you got another bedroom, and throw a closet in there. Over here, you've got your main sewer pipe coming out and it's going down, and you have your actual thermostat wire right here. Anytime you see a brown cable in the house, you know that that's a thermostat cable. It's typically gonna be braced. So you're gonna brace them with 2x4s so that when the drywall comes in and you actually try to apply the thermostat to the wall, it's not hanging off or falling off. When stuff like that happens, it's because they didn't apply actual brace behind the wall, and that's just poor craftsmanship, or they cutting corners and being cheap. Another thing you wanna look at is on the top and the bottom of these penetrations where you have piping, you always wanna put plates. This is a code requirement. In some cities, it may not be code just yet, but typically it is a national code, but certain municipalities and cities are a little more lenient with it. But this is for your protection. If you hang drywall and you drill through this plumbing pipe, water's gonna go everywhere and you won't know, unfortunately, until the house is 100% done. So you wanna avoid those types of things from happening. As we continue here, what do y'all think we're currently standing in? This is the kitchen. So when you have your kitchen, you want to have your island. On your left, you have your hot line. You always know hot when you see red writing on the pipe. Then you have a 2-inch sink drain line. Black or blue means cold. And then right here, what do you think this is? This is your dishwasher. So on your island, you always want to have dishwasher to the left or to the right because it's easier for drainage as well as for the water line. Sometimes a lot of people cut out and they don't run an actual water line for the dishwasher, but when you don't, it gives you a weaker pressure. So don't take a shortcut, guys. Run the extra pole and extra pipe so you can have adequate pressure throughout your whole home. And then on the back wall, you're able to kind of see the same types of things. So right here is a refrigerator. This is a plate for the ice maker. So this is where you get your water from, your ice and things like that in your fridge. Then you also want to place your outlet for your fridge somewhere in the middle of the wall, typically 48 inches off the ground is where you want to place that. That way you don't have to have your refrigerator cord at the bottom. You want to have it somewhere right in the middle. Then right here, you want to have outlets that are counter height. This is going to be a GFI outlet. And right here is also plumbing lines that are being ran. This black stuff should be ran on all plumbing lines, more particularly the hot water lines. Why? This is called insulation. This keeps the water hot throughout the full house. So no matter where this is at, from the start to the finish, it needs to be insulated. If you look in the ceilings, from the start to the finish of that black water line, it is completely insulated. This is gonna save you so much time and money later. You won't have clients calling you like, hey, my water doesn't stay hot upstairs, or it takes forever to get hot. And as soon as it gets hot, it turns off. Why? Because in the winter, it's not insulated, you guys. Insulation is extremely, extremely important. Another hack that I've done is I've always centralized my panel locations. This makes it super easy to add and change things. And you see how clean and concise my panel is? They're color coordinated. You have your orange, you have your yellow, you have your white, you have your main power line, and then you have your thicker cables that are gonna dictate your stoves, your washer and dryer and things like that. Over here, when you see a gray box, in a thicker cable, this is either 220 or 240. This is gonna be for your stove or for your dryer. This is how you indicate where certain things are in new constructions when you don't necessarily know. So when you come through, you're also able to, understand other things when they're in the earlier phases by certain framing things. Right here, this is what you call a double-headed plate. These are for doors and windows. The reasoning is it helps you to support it. Right here, we've cut this 2x4, we've cut it at the top to make this opening. Well, wood gives you the same support that it would as this one that goes from floor to ceiling. These double plates. Double plates are always a key indicator of a door or a window. And here, this is a bathroom, same thing. You have your red water line, you have your blue plumbing line, then you have your drain for your sink. Right here, you want your toilet to be 12 or 13 inches from the wall to the center. That gives you space, and you have to run your toilet line. This is your line for your toilet. Then you have your actual bathtub. When you install your bathtubs and fixtures, you want to also use braces and 2x4s. No matter what, you want to turn on the water and make sure the lines hold pressure. If they don't hold pressure now, they will never hold pressure, except now it's cheap to fix. Later, it's extremely costly and a big headache, you guys. So you always want to make sure you test these things out before you get too far. As I said, consistency. You see these plates everywhere you see. You see this brace holding it and anchoring it. We built 2x4 here just to make sure that we don't have any inadequate water flow. We could have took a shortcut and not built this little notch here to hold it up. But then what happens when the water gets in this and this pipe now hangs down? Now we got a backup and we're trying to figure out where the pressure is coming from. You can't take no shortcuts in building. And if you don't know what you're doing, you got lazy contractors, it could really cost you a lot of money. So coming through here, you have your bedrooms. When you're bracing walls and you're doing siding or sheathing on the outside, anywhere where there's seams or joists, you have to use a brace. So in this case, this is 2x4s. These ceilings are 8 feet. The average piece of plywood, siding, or anything is a 4x8. So we have a 9-foot ceiling. That means we have a 12-inch gap. Well, here's the 12-inch gap. Anywhere that gap is present, you must brace. Why? Because you need to make this 2 pieces of plywood seem to be one. And this is how you do it, through using the braces. We come right here. This is what you call siding house wrap, but it's also used as a water and moisture barrier for the inside. You put on the tops, the sides, and the bottoms, and on the outsides you use tape in a pattern like this from the bottom and from the top. This stops water from getting into your home later on. So this will actually be covered, the drywall will be applied on top of this, so you have it covering it like this, and that way you have an extra barrier before water can come into your home. Another thing to look for is going to be your HVAC, condensation lines, your piping, and then your actual line set. This is called your line set. This is the power of your HVAC. This is the most common thing to get stolen. Why? Because it is copper pipe within this insulation. People steal copper and get pennies on the dollar, but it costs you thousands to replace. So protect this like it's golden. Try to conceal it. This is in the back of my property, and it goes from straight up to straight down, and you can't see it. I don't even expose the exterior component until the end almost. So where I sit the unit, that's where I expose it. Before then, I don't expose it. I leave it locked up and racked up to where they can't see it. Of course, we got our handy dandy plate so that when we put our drywall, nothing happens. And then on top of it, we have our insulation. So you want to use foam insulation anywhere you penetrate plumbing, electrical, anything. Why? Because ants, rodents, rats, roaches, they come in through anywhere that they can. But you use the foam to make sure that they super can't get in. So anywhere I have penetrations, you'll see that from electrical and plumbing, even at the top, I use foam to make sure that there's nothing coming into the home. I'm not going to live here. This is for a buyer. But I'm going to make sure that no matter what, if it was my house, I would do it the same way. That's how you build your reputation and you build your brand for your clients. So in here, everything else is pretty repetitive as far as the framing. One thing I would say is these blue boxes in the ceiling, do y'all know what those are for? These blue boxes are indications for hard wire smoke detectors. Now in any living quarters, you are required by code to have a smoke detector, meaning each bedroom, bathroom, hallway, so on and so forth. So you'll see blue boxes all throughout in every area. These are things that I like to install even where code doesn't require. I still add the extra ones because these are people's lives that you're depending on, and that they're depending on you to protect. So it's your quality. For a bedroom to be legally considered a bedroom, it must have a window and it must have a closet. No matter how big or how small the closet is, it is required to have it to be a bedroom, and then you need at least one window. So as you can see here, we have a window, it's installed in the closet. This is considered a legal bedroom, guys. Another hack that I've been able to do to save a lot of time and money is LED lights. So these white wrinkled up wires are LEDs. You can run them prior to, or you can jump from one to another. So if you have one wire here, you could theoretically run 6 lights, 5 lights, however many you want. In this hallway, I have 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can drop 4 lights in these exact locations. Let's say I want to change some later, I could always do that with no additional problems. So when you're building your houses, as you can see, it looks like this house is bigger than it is because we have 9-foot ceilings. So this is something you can do to make it seem grander or bigger than it actually is. Another thing that you can do is extend the staircase. So this is a 48-inch staircase. Average staircase is a 30 or 32 wide. But you see how big this makes it look? And I'm standing here like, yo, I'm in the middle of my mansion. Whole time, this is a 3,000 square foot, spec home for someone, but it feels a lot bigger. Also, when they come to bring their bed and furniture and sofa, nobody's banging up your walls because you have additional space to make sure that you don't have a problem. When designing your house, you want to also make sure you factor in natural light and also space to chill. So out here, this is a porch that you can come out, walk out, chill, sit out, listen to the birds chirp, so on and so forth. Up here, we have a secondary kitchen. So this is going to be a refrigerator. This will be some sink outlets. And then we'll have like a mini fridge and stuff like that, and a microwave. And you have all of this open space to just hang out and chill. Here, once again, making it grand. You have a big door opening. You have double vanities. A ton of space for the closet. And a huge shower. So when you're doing your shower fixtures, you always want to put plates here on the wall. These plates, once again, make sure that when you install this stuff, you're not pushing in and looking at ways to reinforce it, because when you turn the water on, when you take these covers off, it's going to go no problem. You don't want to have a loose fixture. Loose fixtures means that there was nothing behind the wall to support it. In this case, I use 2x6s to support it, and this gives me all of the reassurance and support that I need at the top and at the bottom. Another big thing for bathrooms is it gets hot. So you need to have an exhaust fan. The exhaust fans are ran by the HVAC guys that are installing. They tie into all of the other ductwork and actually run out of the house. You can typically use this as a combo where it's light and exhaust to give you that true feel. A lot of people put them over their toilets or in their showers. You also need a return or a supply. This is a supply, meaning the air is coming in. A return means the air is going out. Well, this supply is going to supply air to this area. Imagine being in here with the shower on in Atlanta with 100-degree weather with no air coming in. It'll get real uncomfortable real fast. Then up here, this is your laundry room, guys. So right here, this is for your washer. You have your hot, your cold, and then here's your drain. So when a washing machine fills up, there's a drain that connects to it, and the water comes into the middle of here and drains out of this pipe, which goes directly to your main and goes down and out of the house. Right here is your dryer vent. As you can see, everything is braced. Everything is braced. Why? Because once you put drywall on, you don't want stuff to move and be coming into the wall, and now you have to cut the wall to brace it later. Do it right the first time. And then here's that thicker cable I was telling you about. Remember what I said, when you see gray boxes and different color wire that's thicker, you can resolve that as a 220. That's typically 220 or 240. That's for EV chargers, electric stoves, dryers, double ovens, those types of things. Okay, a major thing in the bathroom, you guys, you want to make sure that when you have a window in the bathroom, it must be tempered glass. Tempered glass is very much so for your protection of the end buyer. So if I'm in here and I pass out like, oh, I cannot fall through this window, because tempered glass is not meant to just be falling through. It's more strong, more durable. I originally had this window in here, right? And I make mistakes too as a builder, but I'm here to make these mistakes so you don't. This is a $1,000 window that now is custom ordered for this house that I cannot use. But guess what? This is a double hung window, but it's single pane, meaning you can punch through this and be outside. So if I fall out, boom. Now I can fall through this window and I'll fall 20 feet into the ground and possibly die. So they have changed the code. Also, you want to have flashing. This is flashing inside of this window to make sure that it's super safe and secure, and more so that moisture doesn't get through into your home, into your bathroom, or anything like that later on. So as you go through things, you're also required to follow the current codes. If codes change from the national or from your local municipality, even when you're in the middle of a build, you technically have to follow exactly what they're implementing at that time. On the showers, I ordered this fixture on Amazon. It was like 120 bucks, right? I ordered it the night before it came, and we're able to get it installed. This is a great thing to have because it has a hand wash. This makes it feel a little more luxurious, a little more grand, a little more modern. So you always want to add this to your master or primary shower. And of course you got your pipes insulated and your blocking. As you can see, everything I do is pretty consistent and it's going to be clean. You want your work to be clean. You want it to be nice. You want to give people a nice quality product. Another tip and trick that we have for you guys is when you're doing properties that are 2 stories, you can run your HVAC in the attic. So a lot of times the architect doesn't inspect the MEPs. MEPs are going to be mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They don't tell you that on your blueprints. They leave it up to you to figure out. Well, you have me to help you figure it out. So if you have a set of plans that you need me to review, you always can book a one-on-one with me at thedevelopmentdoctor.com, and I'll take you guys through it and show you my thoughts on where you should place it. But as you can see here in the ceiling, we have our unit. This makes it easy because if we ever want to add, change, or modify, all of the returns and the supplies are coming from the attic. See? This one right here is bigger. This is a return. This returns air back to the unit, and that gives the supplies more air to put back out into the home. So supplies are typically these size. So the smaller ones that you see coming into the home. So this is just a quick walkthrough, you guys, of the property. We're gonna do drywall next week. I'll take you guys through that phase. The most important things with drywall is you have to know where your outlet switches, plugs, covers, and things are, because unfortunately guys will always cover up the drywall. They'll cover our outlet, they'll hide a smoke detector, but it's on you to know where they are. I'm gonna give you guys all the game tips and tricks. As always, if you want to do one-on-one to learn how to scale your business, how to build homes, how to invest with other people's money, or how to grow your own businesses like this, or build your own family home, tap in with me. You guys follow me at The Development Doctor. That's at thedevelopmentdr.com. and at thedevelopmentdr on Instagram. Tap in for more updates. Thank you for the support and following. See y'all on the live Q&A.